Here we are again with another rant video. I have not done this in a while. I hope I don't mess this up. But yeah, today's topic is it's been here in the internet for like a very long time now, but it's also very controversial to talk about, to speak of, because once you do speak of this certain topic, I'm pretty sure that certain niche who believe in this certain topic will eventually find me, and then they'll bash and they'll hate and stuff without actually hearing the opinions, and that's kind of why I was avoiding this topic. But so I'll try to keep things as neutral as possible and look at both sides of the spectrum, and not just on the internet side or the left side or the right side. So yeah, mm, let's talk about SGWs. I can already tell a lot of people are gonna hate this video. So yeah, social justice warriors, or SJWs, as they are called, are the people who try to defend something, who thinks are right in their own perspective, in their own um, uh, block. I guess not block. In their own perspective of morality. So, if they think that certain thing is wrong, then universally it is definitely wrong. That is, of course, in the SGW's perspective. Now they are called warriors because um, these people are the ones who act upon their own morals without listening to the other side. So yeah, that's basically what a social justice warrior is. They they share their own morality and fight against anyone who think otherwise. Yeah, so that's a definition. So yes, I am a bit irritated by these people, but I just try to calm down because I know that most people who just bash on something they hate are just people who don't have enough time to do whatever, you know? I'm not saying they don't have a life, they probably just have too much time on their hands. And guilty as charged, I also have a lot of time in my hands. But I don't go around bashing people, so yeah, that's a difference, I guess. Mm, so there, I have seen a lot of articles. Not only like I'm not gonna say some names, of course, but certain Australian, someone from Congress like really hated anime, and he said that it's a child abuse and stuff, and he gave examples that are not exactly good examples of child abuse, and they're not really examples, they're not really representations of child abuse. Like Ero Manga Sensei isn't really it doesn't exploit child abuse. I don't really get what it means. Goblin Slayer, it's more racism than child abuse. I don't really get why people think it's more child abuse when they're goblins and they're not real. And also, it's racism. It's not child abuse. Like there's racism against goblins and racism against humans and such. So yeah, if it's racism, I could probably guess why. But child abuse, really? I don't get it. Uh, Other than that, he talked about No Game No Life, and I also don't see why he would talk about No Game No Life. How is that child abuse? I don't really get it. I guess they were just they didn't really see that there was rating for all of this, like rated 17 plus, 15 plus. I don't know. They probably don't read the ratings, and this is probably also the same people who buy video games for their kids and then accusing the creators of the video games for showing very violent stuff in the video games that they bought for their kid. I don't really get it, because if you're going to buy something, you'd have to know what that certain something is. You can't just go in blindly. You can if you're an adult, but most people who just buy video games for their kids is mostly Karen. So Karen, let's talk about Karen. Karen is, I think, uh, Stereotype. in the real world who just keeps on complaining about stuff. Who's how do I explain Karen? So it's sort of an SJW ish, but it doesn't really delve into the political side of things. It's more of an opinionated side. So Karens, I don't really mind. Usually, I just uh, uh, forget them after some time because uh, just listening to them or even hearing their side point of view is it. You can listen, but most of the time they can't really influence you because most of the things they say don't really make sense. So yeah, should do I could do I recommend uh, uh, avoiding Karens? No, just listen to their point of view and just calm down and try to look at things in different perspectives. That's the advice that I would give if you were a Karen. If you're not, then just keep on keeping on, I guess. And look at that, they're fighting. The dogs are fighting outside. Well, look at that. Yeah. So, wow, wow, they are really fighting, aren't they? All right, we're done. So yeah, another shed of news that I want to share was no coronavirus thing because I don't want to talk about it. I'm already irritated as it is. But you know what? I'm just gonna keep it cool. So no coronavirus thing in this rant. Well, I am gonna talk about like video games and anime. So another issue in anime is how I don't know if it's in Australia or in Europe, but apparently they banned figures, and I don't see why. Like, apparently it's supposed to be too lewd. I don't get why it would be too. I mean, if it were like very provocative, but by what I saw from my researches and my sources, it's just a maid girl wearing a maid uniform. I don't see what's so lewd with that. And again, this is another thing I want to address. It's not the item that is lewd, it's just your train of thought. If you think something is lewd, then that's on you. But if someone else thinks it's not lewd, then you should respect that. So morality, not really morality, but let's try not to not really unify. What's a good word for that? Let's not control, I guess, how people like things and how people don't like things. Like if it goes against the law, like child prostitution, sure, why not? But if your opinion of child prostitution is very much different from the masses, then I think you're doing something wrong. Like, I really don't like it when people exploit children. Fuck those people. But if it was just, for example, a little kid throwing a little girl, maybe it's just, the kid's hormones. You can't really blame the kid for throwing a girl, because, again, that's just part of their growth. Like, if they're reaching puberty, obviously they're gonna draw dicks, they're gonna draw boobs. You can't blame them for that. It's part of their growth. It's part of their development as a person. And if they don't go through that phase, then I don't know, something must be wrong with you. Everyone has to go through that phase, else something might happen to the kid, and which you might also be responsible for. That's why adults should also be responsible. I just became an adult, so yeah, I already know what I'm talking about. So yeah, again, you just listen to everyone else's opinions, and you understand what everyone else thinks about it. So this time I'll talk video games. Uh, I really don't want like people who blame video games for stuff that doesn't really affect anyone. So I already talked about like this video games promote violent behavior when there's very little to suggest that. Um, like this a person played DDR for and then he became a mass shooter thing. So what does DDR have? The DDR doesn't have a connection with mass shooting. It's just a person's hobby. So yeah, if people can just what do you call this? separate fantasy from reality, then great. At least they don't have to uh, blame fictional characters for this. Another, okay, that one again. Stop blaming fictional characters. They're not real. Be it video game, anime, manga, literature, whatever. They're not real. Okay, do they affect the society as we see it? Kind of. But fiction is not society itself. It's not supposed to be um, a substitute for society itself. How we see society is through its people, through us. So if we were to see, for example, what could be a good example? Murder, for example. Murder. Then, of course, obviously it's going to be bad. But for a fictional world where murder is okay and it's glorified, like in Death Note, because, it reduces crime rates and stuff, and it's only in fiction. You can't expect the real world to adapt to that kind of environment because it's not real. So yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to say for just things that really pisses me off. So last piece of advice, I guess, for anyone, I'll just summarize everything that I've said here in this rant thing. Yeah, so first thing that I really want people to understand, be it SCWs, Karen, out, left, out, right, I don't care which side you're on. I'm pretty neutral, so this is for everyone, not just for those ones I'm talking about. So, for video games, if you're not gonna buy it, if you're not gonna buy video game, if you're not gonna buy the anime, if you're not gonna watch the anime, if you're not gonna read the manga, then don't complain, because it's not made for you. Simple as that. Like, why would the creators make something that's not even for you? So, what I advise for like all the creators, don't let these things get you down, because they're not the ones making the game. You are. And you also have your own freedom of speech. They also have their own freedom of speech. But if either side were to abuse it, then it would just cause chaos. So, again, for people who keep on complaining on why these characters' boobs are too big or the clothes are too sensual, then maybe you should buy it. If you're gonna buy it, then okay, I guess that's legit. That's a legit complaint. But if you're not gonna buy it and you just saw it, then you have no say in it. You're not the audience they're trying to convey to. Just shut up, please. If you want your speech or whatever freedom of advice, then look at everyone else's perspective before you give everyone else. Which brings us to the second one. Listen to everyone's opinions before accusing. Before you accuse someone of anything like being a sex offender or such, maybe you should look at others, more sources, or listen to other people's opinions, or listen to that very person's opinions before you jump to conclusions. I have seen this so many times. I have read articles that talk about these things, like Chica's skirt. Oh my god, please stop. Just because of the skirt has ruffles on it, it's a freaking skirt. What do you want? It's a very long skirt, and I don't get. It just, if you don't want skirts to work the way they do, then maybe you should just change the laws of physics. Because really, that's what you want to do. If you want to change the physics or how skirts work, just change the law of physics, I guess, if that's what you really want. Or if you find physics new, then I don't really care anymore. Maybe you should just travel to another world where these things don't happen, where skirts don't ruffle. I don't really get it. But yeah, let's try to listen to everyone's opinions before we try accusing them of anything. Let's get every other evidence there before we start accusing. This is why we try to avoid accusations or assumptions in research, because it's not really, it's either not relevant or it's not really, what do you call this? You can't trust it, basically. So we use hypotheses. We don't use assumptions in research. So yeah, And finally, and probably the most important one, please focus on actual problems and not first world shit. This one pisses me off the most. So, if you're gonna talk about how, oh no, Starbucks says don't have that limited edition stuff anymore, then nobody cares. Like, look at people in India. They, most of them, I guess, some of them don't even know what Starbucks is, and here you are complaining about something that doesn't even. It's not even important to the what's happening to the real world right now. Like, there's poverty, there's global poverty, there's global hunger, and you are not doing anything. You're complaining that there are so many things wrong with how Starbucks. It pisses me off so much. And like, again, they keep accusing anime of doing this and doing that, of anime promoting child prostitution. Why don't you focus on real child prostitution? There's real child prostitutes there and they need help. What are you doing? Instead of focusing on something that's not real, how about you focus on something that is real? Instead of focusing on a piece of paper with a drawing on it, why not focus on something outside, something that's actually real, something that really affects the world as we know it? Like, a piece of paper probably won't affect the whole world for all I care. But again, these are real world problems. We have to fix real world problems before we go on to secondary problems. I'm not going to talk about the LGBTQ, etc., because that's another topic and it's too controversial. I'm not going to talk about it. This is mostly just for SJWs and such. So, yeah, just focus on what's actually the problem right now instead of focusing so much on something that's not really important. Yeah, I've ranted so long. Yeah, so yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to say. I just want to ramble for a while, especially since the coronavirus kind of closed us in on our own homes. So, yeah, you're alone with your own thoughts, and these things happen. Fuck you, coronavirus. Yeah, but I hope everyone gets well. Like, just follow proper, what do you call that? Hand rinsing stuff. Just keep yourself well, keep yourself healthy, and you probably won't get COVID. I don't have COVID, by the way. I have never left the house, so I don't even know that COVID even exists beforehand. So, yeah, we're all stuck in the house because of reasons, because of COVID. But yeah, I just wanted to rant this stuff. Just everyone, just calm down. Calm down. It's not the end of the world. Just calm down. All right? We good? All right. Gonna end this rant here. And I guess if you want to listen to me rant even more, then go like this video and also subscribe on there for more videos like this. As always, this is vanilla, not the flavor, but just sweet.